There's a divide as far as what Texans fans want the Houston Texans to do with that first-round pick that they have. Most people want the Texans to draft an offensive lineman. I saw Seth Payne put a poll out earlier. I think that if you're picking in the first round between an offensive lineman and a wide receiver, the spread was 75% of people wanted an offensive lineman and 25% of people wanted a wide receiver. And that makes sense to me. We saw what the Texans did last offseason, right? You had Nico Collins and Tank Dell already. You bring in Stephon Diggs. You are thinking that that is going to make the offense better. But obviously, the offensive line was such a problem last year that even when Stephon Diggs was healthy and even when Tank Dell was healthy, this offense just struggled to move the ball consistently. It was largely due to the offensive line, a now departed offensive coordinator, a now departed, possibly on the verge of retirement offensive line coach. There are a lot of factors that led up to it. But of course, the players weren't very good either. Shaq Mason, cut. Laramie Tunsil, their best offensive lineman, traded. Kenyon Green, traded. You trade for Ed Ingram. We'll see if he's actually good. You sign Laken Tomlinson. We'll see if he's actually good. You sign Cam Robinson. We'll see if he's actually good. You ain't done. No. So I want the Texans to draft an offensive lineman with that pick at the back of the first round. So as we do something that we did last year, I'm looking for, first, a guard, which the Texans have had a tough time finding for a while. Anyone watch the South Park creator movie, Team America, World Police? Whenever I think about guards, I think about this clip.
Yeah, we're supposed to be guards. We're guards. We're guards, huh? We're guards. We're guards.
I don't know why that has resonated with me for 20 years and just been stuck in my head. But that's what we're going to look at. Because guess what we're about to do, guys? We're about to do what we did last year. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at players at every single position and scrolling through Lance Zierlein's write-ups on these players, entirely based off of the mildly sexual things that Lance Zierlein writes, we're going to determine whether or not we like a player. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Lance Zierlein's erotic draft report to return triumphantly to the noon to 3 slot here on ESPN Houston.
You know Lance Zierlein for his mock drafts.
This is where the problems start in my hometown. I pass on C.J. Stroud.
But have you ever read his scouting reports?
Look at the body. Look at that bubble butt. They're power generators right there.
We're going to pick who the Texans should draft entirely based on these things he actually wrote.
A little stiff in the hips. Ooh.
They fall down hard and long.
And now, our unintentionally erotic big board.
We're going to start off with guards. Here's prospect number 1. His name is Donovan Jackson. He is a guard for Ohio State. He is at the top of Lance Zierlein's write-ups. This guy has the highest grade from Lance Zierlein. So let's read some of the notes about Donovan Jackson, Sean. He has the core power and leg drive to hold the line of scrimmage or change it.
Okay.
He can stick and sustain in line and is a plus finisher.
I'd see why he's so highly rated.
I can as well. He can be tardy in opening his hips, but he's long, has above average hit and stick, and uses length and upper body power to thump gap shooters. Thick chest, broad hips, and get this, he's from Cyprus. Donovan Jackson's my number 1. This is not even a debate. I went through all of it, Sean. This guy is by far the most appealing sounding prospect, at least if we're reading Lance Zierlein's unintentionally erotic draft reports.
No, I liked everything I heard as well. This guy's awesome. Will he be available at 25? Who knows?
It's a good question. I would lean towards no. So let's move on to prospect number 2 from Alabama, Tyler Booker. So Tyler Booker has average explosiveness, prototypical size, and girth with elite length. Whoa. He is able to uncoil his lower half that much length.
Wow.
And set a sudden anchor in the pocket. I'm a fan.
Some guys have it all, sounds like.
Some guys really have it all. That guy doesn't need what we're offering in the commercial break. He doesn't need that. He's totally confident. So we're going to put Tyler Booker on the board as well from Alabama. Lance Zierlein, unintentionally erotic draft reports. Prospect number 3, Tate Ratledge from Georgia. He's got a dirt dog mentality.
Okay.
He has enough anchor and redirect power to protect his pocket. Good firmness into contact on double teams.
Okay. All right.
But this is the big issue with him. He lacks length.
Oh.
He has
Ooh.
below average length for interior protection.
That's tough.
It is. Bonus points, though. Have you seen what Tate Ratledge looks like?
Yes, I have seen what Tate Ratledge looks like.
Mullet, check.
Check.
Mustache, check. Soul patch, check. The man looks very cool. And because of how he looks, I'm putting him on the draft board, even though he lacks length.
Yeah.
Because he's got that dirt dog mentality in him. I like that. Prospect 4, Marcus Mabeau. He went to Purdue. Off my board already, but let's give him a little bit of grace. What Mabeau lacks in desired size and mass. Oh, well,
That's
again,
tough.
not off to a good start. He makes up for with athleticism, hustle, and elite instincts. Okay, so he's a hard worker.
That's fine.
He's a free-flowing athlete. Whoa, what's that mean in 2025? He's willing to swap paint. What? Lance. Again, we were reading Lance Zierlein's unintentionally erotic draft write-ups on these players who will be drafted next week.
I don't know what that could mean in a football context.
Nor do
either.
I. He rockets out of his stance and slams into initial targets with force with slick hips. Listen, he almost made up for it, but I can't get past the fact that 1, he went to Purdue, and 2, he lacks desired size and mass.
That was the first bullet point. Was despite all the bad things.
He tries.
Yeah.
So he is the first one that we are not putting on the board to this point. But Tate Ratledge from Georgia, along with Tyler Booker from Alabama, and Donovan Jackson, who we really like. Donovan Jackson sounds the best.
And those in reverse order.
Lance Zierlein's unintentionally erotic draft big board for our Houston Texans with the draft next week continues. We are grading players entirely based off of the little notes that I found from Lance that I found to be at least borderline sexual. We move now to prospect number 5, Wyatt Millum from West Virginia. He has ideal instincts to sniff out twists. Will slip and slide off sustained blocks at times. That's not good. But good proportional thickness, heavy thump on first contact. Well, what about the other contact? Sturdy anchor against bullies. Okay. His base narrows and becomes less steady when he's engaged. Okay. Can be tardy to step down and squeeze the B gap. And I'm out. I'm not feeling Wyatt Millum. Not feeling it. Prospect number 6, Emory Jones from LSU. A lack of hand readiness and balance issues.
Ooh.
He's on the ground often. Too often. He's quick to reignite his hands when they are swatted away. Oh, that's problematic. That's problematic. Smooth skip pull. What? With quickness around the corner. He gets overextended and his base becomes unsteady. Of all the guys, this guy seems like he's going to cost the Texans the most.
Yeah.
Just seems like he's a little reckless out there.
Yeah, we already had a guy like that.
Ooh, that's true. Yeah, he sounds like false starts might be happening a little bit. Just a little bit. So Emory Jones, you're out. The big board continues entirely based off of Lance Zierlein's unintentionally erotic draft write-ups. Miles Frazier, another LSU guy. Satisfactory height, weight, and length. Has knockback pop. Mauls in tight spaces. Proportional thickness and length.
Okay, that's okay.
This is maybe my favorite little tidbit. Harmonious eyes and feet. help locate and respond to rush shenanigans. What are rush shenanigans?
Also, harmonious eyes and feet.
I know.
Rush shenanigans.
Is he like dancing and
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds
deep
like
eye contact?
he's a good dancer.
Moore possesses very small hands for an offensive lineman. Oh no.
That's bad. That's not good.
Small hands. You know what they say about small hands?
Yeah.
Small gloves. Waka waka. The draft report continues. Jalen Rivers from Miami. Ooh, look at this guy. He's a burly offensive lineman. Okay. Paul, you into that? Natural anchor, above average length. Slow feet, though, they put him in harm's way. Stiff hips, below average base footwork. A clunky mover. Has the mass to absorb and swallow defenders near his gap. Okay. This is Lance's write-up, by the way. I didn't write this, Lance. Swallows defenders near his gap. That could be holding. That's the issue there. He might be a holder. He swallows defenders near his gap. Sorry, Sean. What were you trying to say?
What time of the day do you think he wrote that one?
Yeah, it might have been towards the end. Might have been towards the end. More on Jalen Rivers. Struggles setting to pocket depth, allowing leakage over the top. Oh. Yeah.
I don't think.
I think we're out on him.
Yeah, I don't think I want him on.
I think we're out. There's more things, but yeah. Prospect 9, Jonah Savania from Arizona. Wide. Oh. Can engulf smaller opponents. Whoa. Dense frame. Excellent thickness through limbs. Space-eating frame will be tough to beat quickly inside. Whoa. It sounds like he's just the biggest guy ever. And here's the bonus. This guy's on my board. He's from Samoa. Call me racist, whatever.
I'm in.
I'm in. Samoan offensive lineman because he's a project offensive lineman. He's projected towards the back. I like this guy.
Yeah.
One last offensive lineman. This is prospect 10, Joe Huber. Lacks the length and mass to win consistently. Needs to calm his feet during pass sets and eliminate edge leakage. Okay, this is Lance. What the hell is edge leakage? I don't want to hear about leakage.
Yeah, leakage.
Especially for a guy who's fluid on pulls. But he brings his hands and hips into blocks in unison. I'm on the fence. So much like the guy from Purdue, Mabo, out. I typically am in on guys who play at this school, and Joe Huber played at Wisconsin.
Okay. That's
interior
enough.
Offensive lineman.
That's enough to knock, I was on the fence. That's enough. Like you said, it's the opposite of going to Purdue for me. Offensive lineman from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I'll give the benefit of the doubt.
So this is our entirely based off of Lance Zierlein's unintentionally erotic reports about Texans players that could be, not Texans players, NFL draft prospects, specifically guards. On our list, we have 5 guys. Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. I want him.
Yeah.
We'll see what wide receivers and tackles talk about, but right now, Donovan Jackson's my number 1. Entirely based off of Lance, not off of anything I've done. Tyler Booker from Alabama on the board. Tate Ratledge, because he has a mullet and a mustache, on the boards. Someone texted in, how's the mullet coming, Paulie? Slowly. Very slowly. Marcus Mabo off the board. Jonah Savinia from Arizona and Joe Huber from Wisconsin, they're in.
Yeah.
So there you go.
In that order, I'm good.
We hope you enjoyed this segment. This is what we're going to do for all of the draft prospects as we get closer and closer to the draft. This is how we break down the draft, okay? We know what we don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't. I'm basically George Washington, minus the success. Minus lots of success. But if I chop down a tree, I'd tell you about it. I would absolutely tell you about it. So there you go. 713-780-3776 to call in, to text in, on YouTube at ESPN Houston, on Twitch at ESPN 975. Tomorrow, do we want to do wide receivers or do we want to do tackles? I think the Texans have their tackles already picked for this year. Now, could be wrong, but it does seem like between Blake Fisher and Titus Howard, either at right tackle and at left tackle, Cam Robinson, or potentially Titus Howard at right tackle, you move Blake Fisher, or Titus Howard your left guard. It does feel like tackle's set to a degree. I know Nick Caserio in the past has said, I want to have 4 tackles optimally. That means it's not necessarily off the table, but
maybe not next.
Wide receiver next then?
Wide receiver next. We can get to tackles later this week or start of next week.
Okay. All right, cool. I like that. So tomorrow, wide receivers. We'll do tackles on Thursday.
Yeah, maybe defensive tackles, like
right.
interior.
We could do that on Friday.
They're good on ends.
They're 100% good on ends.
Linebackers.
Tight ends, definitely.
Tight ends, yeah.
So
I think that's the positions we do.
And running backs.
Sure.
Probably running backs at the end. But yeah, I mean, look, they're actually set in a lot of spots. They do not need a cornerback.
No, it's not. The needs are not that pressing.
I would not be mad if they drafted a cornerback because I'd figured they'd find a good guy, but they do not need to draft the cornerback. It's the offensive line. It's the wide receivers, tight ends, perhaps linemen as well. So there you go.